Hey, welcome to today's video. In this video, I thought it would be fun to create this monster's head in ZBrush, and this is created by Paolo Chiari. So hopefully I didn't butcher this too bad, but you can look up this artist and here's the sculpt. And I think that is pretty amazing. And when I saw it, I could not resist, and he must be sculpted. I think that would be a really cool tutorial as well. So you can probably start this from a sphere, or I was thinking maybe it's easier if we just grab something like the existing plane, right? So if I go to Lightbox, you can go to Projects, and if you go to Projects, there's a Head Planes folder, and in here there's all these great starting points, right? So if I grab this one, for example, this is going to be probably a really good solid start for us to create something fun like this, right? So let's dive in and see if we can, create something similar. So what I'm going to do is let's first decide on the overall big shapes. We can see the head is very large, and you have this really long kind of a jaw, right? And huge nose. Now, one thing that I like to do personally, you don't have to do this, but I a lot of times I just want to get rid of these blocky lines, right? So the best way to do it is just to redynamesh, and of course you can polish it and make your brush a little bit larger, make sure your active symmetry is on. You can really just melt this away very quickly, right? Just so maybe it doesn't throw us off too much. Because I generally think of sculpting as like a block of clay. I don't really want to see too many planes, sharp planes. All right, so just even this right here I think is perfect. And I can melt it a little more. This is such a low resolution blob that we can easily control it, right? All right, so let's begin. The first thing I'm gonna do is just go to my move, and let's just talk about the very big generic shapes that are happening, right? I'm gonna start by probably just pressing in these cheeks and then making the bottom a little longer, right? So I'm gonna take my brush, make it a little bit larger. Let's just figure out what feels good. Definitely this neck is not working at all, right? So for this character, it's gonna be much thinner. Bring this up, bring this back. And we don't really have the back of the character, but from the side view, you kind of know it's gonna be something like this, right? It's gonna be, it's a monster, right? So it's a little deformed, right? But just the basic anatomy, you have this thing in the back for like the skull, right? Like I always say, visualize a skull underneath this, and you can start seeing, things will start making sense very quickly, right? Just pull this in. I'm not even sure I need the full bust for this. Maybe let's just leave it alone for now. But I'm gonna do Control and drag to redynamesh. Hold on the Shift key, just keeps smoothing this out as I go along. All right, so now we have this guy who hasn't eaten for probably a few months. That's kind of sad, but let's go to inflate, and I want to press these in, right? These are really nice deep sockets, and you can see how they are kind of close. The position of these is sort of close to the nose, right? So holding down the Alt key, I'm just going to do the same thing. Just come in, make sure that this space here is not very large, right? You can see that clearly. And then let's go ahead and just press this in. Okay, and by putting these sockets closer together, it's going to give you this more of a stylized, cartoony feel, right? You don't want to have like the normal distance or too far out. This character specifically has kind of the eye sockets close. I think that's a really important feature for this character. All right, now the nose, let's go ahead and go to the side view. I'll continue using my move brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making this longer, and as I start making it longer, it's going to start stretching the geometry, right? Obviously. So in order for us to have more resolution, we need to do redynamesh, and let's just continue dragging this out. Now from the side view, it looks like he has this little, you can see this little bump right here, which is a must, right? It's almost like a crazy witch bump. Then you have the nose dropping all the way down to like here, and of course he's kind of sharp here, right? And then you have these ginormous nostrils. So I want all of that as well. I think I'm going to switch to clay buildup, use my alpha 1, and let's just give this a little more thickness, right? So you can inflate it or you can use clay buildup. It's a really clever way to just add more mass. And at this point, if you wanted to, it's also not a bad idea to use Sculptures Pro if you don't want to re-Dynamesh every 3 seconds, because this is such a low resolution Dynamesh. Switching it, turning on Sculptures Pro could just, you know, make things a little more fun, and you don't have to worry about resolution, right? It's gonna kind of re-Dynamesh automatically as you sculpt or add more volume, I should say. Now this doesn't make sense, right? To me, I'm already getting away from what I'm seeing here, and that's important, right? This is why you want to practice this kind of stuff. Let me undo this. I'm actually making a mistake already. One thing that you want to keep an eye on is spacing. That's super important, right? So we talked about the spacing between the eyes. Let's talk about the spacing between the eye socket and the nostril. You can see that there's clearly this huge space, almost the size of the entire socket between the nostril, the nose nostril, right, and the eye itself. So the nostrils, the nose nostril needs to be like down here, right? I don't have that, and the reason I don't have that spacing positioned well is because I haven't really created the base mesh properly to reflect what I'm looking at here. So all of those are really important, and of course, you know, we're all practicing and learning and getting better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this down, right? And let's just decide from the side view. I can even jump out of the perspective view. Let's just decide how this feels from the side view, right? And maybe it's going to be something like this. Now I'm trying to figure out the spacing between the bottom. This is hilarious. Look at his chin. It's just coming out of like the bottom lip. That's ridiculous. But let's look at the end of the chin here, and let's explore the spacing between the bottom of the chin and the nose, right? I would say that the nose is kind of about halfway point between the bottom of the chin and the top of the head. So this needs to be in the middle, right? So mine is kind of like that. My nose is here, and then I have the bottom of the chin and the top of the head about the same distance. So that's important, right? Let's go ahead and go with that. And then from this side, you can clearly see that it's kind of pointing to the bottom, but then it's kind of flaring out, right? It's flaring out and going towards the ears. So this right here is not a straight line drop. It's more like this, right? We want to start expanding this out. And you know, he doesn't really have what I have. I created these cheeks already. He doesn't really have that. It's a little bit different. So let's just take this, and you can see the top of the head is really wide, right? I don't even have that either. So let me do all of those things. So let me jump out of the perspective view. Let me check what my camera is set to. 35. Okay, that's fine. All right, I'm gonna start making this a little more round, right? And let's go ahead and start making this a little bit, you know, wider, right? Just like we're seeing in the reference. And maybe it's more like this. Now, it's also important to look at the fact that the forehead is actually not this tall. Even though I like it tall, it's not tall in the reference, right? So we could take all of this and bring it back down. And that's going to be an important part of this character. Holding down the Shift key, I can smooth this. And of course, because my Sculptures Pro is on, when I smooth it, it's also decimating it as well, right? But that's okay. We're still kind of blocking this out. Let's just see what makes sense. So this right here feels pretty good. I feel like maybe this is even more. Like I see this really round thing right there. So maybe that's really important, right? And maybe we want to take this and just kind of start pulling this out. Holding down the Shift key, I just can smooth anything that doesn't make any sense. And that right there feels pretty good, I think. All right, let's go with this. Let's keep going. So the cheeks really do come out a lot. And for that, I'm going to switch back to build up, and let me just build these cheeks a little more. So it's more like this, and they don't have this indentation right there. Right? This is all filled up. So let me fix that as well. Just kind of going back and forth to figure out what feels good, right? I need these cheeks, and then you have this whole thing just kind of drops down, right? So to me personally, it's really fun to discuss this. I don't know why, but I enjoy discussing it, and I enjoy looking at the forms and shapes. For some reason, that brings me joy, and I hope it does to you too. And it's really important, right? It's important to understand it, and it's really important to understand what's happening, because then if you ever create your own custom characters, you kind of have this embodied, I think, in you, understanding how things flow and how they connect and all that stuff. So one thing I'm seeing right away is that you have these fat rolls right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I wanted to, I can just gradually start introducing some of this detail, right? I have this right here, and then for the cheek, you have like this thing kind of coming down here, and then you have like these little rolls. So you have like 1, 2, 3, right? So you have all of this stuff here, like all these lines. So let's go ahead and add those in. Just blocking it out. We're not adding detail yet. I see this ridge line right here, and it's going all the way over here. And then you have this, look at this eyebrow, or it's not a brow, but it's kind of inflated right there. So let's go ahead and do that too. We'll just literally inflate this, and then just kind of go forward, right? Let's create this ridge right here. I think that's a big part of this character as well. Okay. And this doesn't look good yet, but again, we're just blocking it out. I can even smooth some of this. I'm just kind of, most of this should be done with Damien standard, right? Even so, we're just kind of adding the volume in for now. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. So now I can talk about the nostrils, right? The nostrils are much lower, and they're almost like, I guess, like right here. So you have this huge gap, and you know what? It's still not even feeling right. It feels like, I don't know why, it feels like the nose is even lower. I'm just gonna take this whole nose and just like bring it down. Go back to my clay buildup, and let me see. I want the nostrils somewhere right here, I think, right? So let's make them nice and large. Okay, you have this nice flow here, and we're gonna bubble them up, and that is maybe a little too much. If I wanted to, I can hold down the Alt key. For that, I'm actually going to switch to inflate. Let me press this in. Something like this. All right, let's take a look. Again, still blocking out, so I think that's, let me actually turn them a little more so I can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, I like this. This is good. Let's just maybe make this just a little even more wide, right? So I'm following this line right there. This is going to go down. This whole thing right here is just too tall for me personally. So again, this is really good exercise to kind of dial in your ability to look at something and then try to copy it, right? His nose seems even longer than mine, which is insane, but okay. Right? Let's see what else we got. The eyes are a little wider. So this whole thing right here is actually more like this. And this line right here is straight, right? So that's pretty good. Now this whole thing kind of drops down. Mine's going forward, right? That's a problem. So let me adjust that. I'm just gonna grab my move, jump out of the perspective view, and I really just need the whole thing just kind of droop down. So I guess it's more like this, right? Really crazy character. All right, so I'm gonna do that now, and let's see. This doesn't look right to me personally. I don't have a side view of this, but this doesn't feel right. So one thing I could do is just kind of maybe build up some of this here a little more. Okay. Again, he doesn't really have the jaw or the neck, but I know that, if he did, it would be probably more like this. Something, because the jaw would be like right here, right? Okay, let's see. Let's give him a little apple thing, a little neck thing, and let's see what else we got. Holding down the Alt key, I can just maybe press this even more. Okay. So all of that detail is important. Let's continue. And now I feel like maybe we can go ahead and jump out of the Sculptures Pro mode and go a little more and higher res. One thing I forgot is obviously the ears, right? So for the ears, let me go back to clay buildup. I guess I'm still on it. And what I want to do is I just want to start like building these up a little. Now I think the easiest thing to do is just create a ridge first, just kind of like a boring circle like this. Do Control Drag to Redynamesh, and now what we can do is we can literally just use the move brush to block out the size, right? So maybe you know, they're clearly much larger and longer. I'm trying to figure out how far they go. There's still a lot of distance here too, so that's good. And then if you look at the bottom of the ear, it's almost aligned with the nostrils, right? So my nostrils are here, so this ear is off, right? So I need all of this being like down here. Okay, so the relationship between where things are is really important. My nostrils also feel like they are too low right there in the back, so let's go ahead and bring them up. All right, let's take a look. This doesn't look right, obviously, this way. It needs to be a little thicker. So maybe something like this. Now he has this little flap in front. I don't have that yet, so let me maybe build that up. Little ear flap, Control Drag, Redynamesh. Let's just do the little thingy, grab our move, and, you know, just put it into, sculpt it into something that makes more sense. All right. That is pretty good. Let's take a look. I feel like the ear is a little more floppy, I think is the word. So, and maybe it's more like this. Okay. So this is fun. Let's go into perspective view actually. And I think this is going to be a solid block out for the starting point. At this point, once you get to this stage and you're happy with your comparison, if you are following me along, the next step would be to increase the Dynamesh or resolution and then start sculpting finer details, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So now we have this. Let's go ahead and go into, probably, I don't need 256. I think I can go straight to 512. Honestly, let me go to 512, Control and drag. Let's do a little bit of a polish. All right, now we have this beautiful clean clay that's somewhat high res. I'm at over 1,000,000 points. Holding down the Shift key, I can smooth out. And look how, if I'm smoothing it, see how it's holding the shape really nicely and it's keeping it super clean, right? It's holding the shape nicely because now I have 1,000,000 points, obviously. So that's important, right? Cool. Now we have a solid start. Now let's go ahead and add more and more detail. One thing I like right away is that these eyeballs are staring at me, so let me actually insert those. I'm gonna go to Subtool, Insert, let's drop a sphere, and let's just quickly put them into position. And they are super small, which is also very funny. And that is gonna be, you know, something that we need to do as well. Just create these spheres inside the sockets. I think something like, you know what, these are even smaller, I think. And I want to make sure that they are, I don't know how deep to put them in there, but something like that I think is pretty good. Let me think about this. Now I want to copy it to the other side. I'm just going to do mirror weld. That works. So now I have these, okay? All right, nice, let's continue. Now to start building this fine little detail, there's a million different ways you can do it. You can literally use inflate, standard brush. You can use clay buildup brush. You can use literally anything, right? So, you know, you can even use the CG cloth brush that I have on my UI that if you downloaded my UI you have as well. But that's really good too for skin folds. I love to do skin folds with it. So like even right here, right, you have this fold going all the way down. So from his nose. So maybe I can, let me turn my symmetry on. Let me see what, I definitely need to be on this layer. And I want to be, let's see, if I select this, make it a little bit larger, I can just, you see how this is like, it has volume, like it has like a lip going all the way around, right? It's not just a line, it's more than the line. It has like, it has volume, right? And so for that, that's why I'm using this tool, because I feel like it can give me something really similar. It's gonna give me like this lip going all the way around, and I need to figure out what makes sense as far as like the size. But I think something like that, and I'm just gonna drop this down, and I'm gonna come all the way down here, and then it's gonna go like in here, right? And then we'll also create this crazy looking chin. Here's this lip thing in the middle. For that, I'm just gonna do inflate. I could switch to sub, that's fine, and go from the bottom here, come all the way down, right? So let me do the same thing, just kind of drop this down. And you know what, before I do, my bad, let me actually put the mouth in. And to do that, I can just literally, just looks like a inflated line, right? So the chin is gonna be right here. So the mouth is like here somewhere, and it definitely needs to be in the add mode, right? So this is gonna be like where the mouth is. Then you're gonna have two little teeth, and then right here is gonna be his chin coming out, right? So let me just inflate a little bit of a chin here like this. And if I wanted to pull that out, I can just grab my move, just pull this out. And it's kind of like, it's got this little thing here. I'm gonna redynamesh, inflate. Let me inflate the ends of it, just like he has, right? And maybe I can smooth this. All right, I think that works. And then to clean this up, what I'm gonna do is, let me think about this. I think I'm just gonna take something like the Damien standard, holding down the shift key, really just smooth all of this up. And I just need a line like this. Let it go, press 1 a few times. Now I have this really nice line, and that's gonna be great. If I wanted to, I can even just do something like this to really just kind of decide where the lip is. And look at this line right here between the mouth and his cheeks is really, really strong, right? So let me actually do the same thing. And that didn't work, let me try again. I think something like that. I'm just gonna go all the way up to the nostrils. If I wanted to, I can even redefine the nostrils a little better here too, right? I can do that, and I think that's really nice. And that right there is already really close to what I'm seeing in the reference. I'm gonna switch it to inflate, go to sub mode, and now I really want to create that lip, right? The lip detail. So I'm just gonna come from the bottom, just pull this down. Maybe that's a little too large. So something like that I think is good. All right, control drag to redynamesh. Let's go ahead and maybe polish this a little more. And it feels like maybe I made it a little too wide. I can go to move, and of course I can attempt to adjust some of this. I could do that. All right, he's an organic character. I don't think it needs to be too precise, but this is good. If I wanted to make this lip a little more definitive, let me go to Damien standard. I'm in sub mode, so I'm gonna hold on the Alt key, and I'm just gonna kind of press this out, make this a little sharper, right? And if I wanted to, I'm not sure he needs it, but maybe there's something like that in the bottom as well, just so I know where the teeth go. I honestly don't see that line, so I can't have it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. To put the little teeth in, let's just insert a little cone, right? I'm gonna insert a little cone and just turn that into like this little tooth situation. So let me do that now. I'm gonna scale it down, make it a little bit longer. Let's turn it into Dynamesh. Let's go ahead and inflate it just a little. Make it a little bit longer. Control drag to redynamesh. Let's hold on the shift key, rotate it 180 degrees. I'm gonna jump out of the perspective view. Now I just wanna bend it a little bit. Of course, I could just use the move tool. That's fine. Maybe make it a little bit longer. And before we bend it, let's just put it into position so we can figure out like what size we need it to be. And I think it's just there's little tiny cones just kind of angled coming out from the top lip, right? Maybe it's a little more on the side like this. All right, now if I wanted to create that little move, you know, that little bend, right? I can just use my move brush and just literally just do that. Let me inflate this a little more. Control drag. And I need more res. Let me go to 256. All right, and let's do something. Still not enough. 512. Let me try that. There you go. It's a little better. I'm gonna inflate it just a little more. I really don't want these to be so sharp over there, but that's okay. All right, let's go. Maybe just melt this away. Anyways, I guess his are sharp as well. I like this. I'm gonna grab my move and let me just maybe push it towards his skin a little more. And that right there is very close, right? Let's go ahead and just do a mirror and weld. So we have two of them. All right, I think that's good. Let me go to perspective view. Take a look. Sweet, let's continue. Next, we need to add more of these folds on his cheeks and continue from there. So I'm gonna go back to my CG cloth, and of course, again, you can use any tool that creates volume. I'm gonna press Alt, select the body, right? And let me just start kind of laying down the blobs here. So maybe there's gonna be like one here. And you know what? Now I'm looking at it, it's not working. I'm gonna just use inflate instead. Let me go to add. See, you have to play around and see what works, right? So I just want something that comes from here and it comes down here. So like this right here needs to be kind of inflated. That's a really important detail, right? And then this right here kind of goes all the way up. So let me make sure I do that as well. All right, then you have the next one, which is this one over here. So let me build that in. And from there, I'm just gonna do a couple more. Perfect. I'm gonna increase just a little more volume here. This feels a little thicker to me, right? Let's go ahead and increase this. Very nice. Now let's go into Damien Standard and really start pressing things in, right? So you could see these lines are so definitive. So I am going to do the same thing. I'm just gonna start pressing these in. So we'll do one here. Let's go ahead and push this one in. There's really nice detail right there that I totally missed. I'm gonna go back to in my inflate. Let me just build the same thing here, right? I just need this kind of a line here. Not a line, I meant a little more volume. The reason I need volume there is because now I can go to Damien Standard and you can see I can press these in right here, and that's what I want, right? I want that circle right there. And now I can connect this to this and start pressing this in. So the way this is flowing, I think, is really important. And then you have these side lines as well, right? So they're kind of like these wrinkles. Let's go ahead and add those in. Redynamesh. Let me smooth this out. I like whenever you do lines, I always try to hide where they end, so it kind of blends into the skin a little bit better. I think that looks really nice. Okay. Very nice. Let's go ahead and add those top ones on his forehead. So they are something like that, I guess. So there's two of them. So I'm gonna smooth this out. All right, and again, hide where I ended. Nice. Let's continue. What else we got? Not sure if he needs it, but maybe we can just do a little more detail on his ear. You know, maybe I can press let me make like a little hole here, right? I can press this in. Maybe I can inflate the ends of it a little more, just add a little more detail. Maybe there's a line here. So actually, if there was a line, that would be more like this, like a little Y, right? Just so there's something there. I can add a little more detail here, and just adding just a little bit, right? It gives a nice feel to the character, even if it's a fantasy mystical character. Still looks kind of nice. At this point, let me change my material to a different one just so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so minor adjustments obviously are going to be necessary and infinite, right? You can sit here for many hours adjusting it and making it better and better. But one thing I would say, if you are doing it with me, I would also definitely grab something like the pinch brush. And whenever you have these kind of details, right, you always want to pinch the ends, and that's just going to make it feel a lot more, cleaner and a lot more interesting, right? So maybe I can even do the same thing right here with his head, and look at the difference, right? Even just that alone looks really looks a lot better. All right, next let's go ahead and paint him real quick. I think that would be fun as well. And if you wanted to, he doesn't obviously has a neck, and this is this is kind of a bust. But if you wanted to, it would be pretty awesome to add maybe like a huge collar coming out from like the back part. Maybe he's wearing like a huge, like a, not a cape, but some kind of a I guess this is like a Dracula, right? Or like a vampire. So maybe what we could do is let's just insert something like, I don't know, let's just insert this cylinder, for example, right? And it would be really easy to turn it into, let's just very quickly turn in some kind of fun design. So I'm gonna go into, let's go into solo mode and turn on our polyframe. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go into Z modeler, press Alt. Let's just select all of this here, and you know what? I don't really need any of these either. Let's just select all that and hover over a face, go to delete. Let's do single poly, and let's just simply click to delete it. Okay, very nice. I'm keeping an eye on this gizmo here, and let's say I want to delete some of these too. Let me turn the double on so I could see. Maybe what I could do is let's hold on the Alt key, definitely turn active symmetry on, but let's just select, I don't know, let's just delete like all, I'm making a selection of like all of this here, and maybe even like this, right? Let's say I don't want that. I'm gonna click to delete, and oops, I accidentally deleted stuff back here. I'm not happy about that, but that's okay. I'm just gonna click to delete it. Again, make sure double is on. And to fix this very quickly, let's select all of that and delete that as well. All right, so that's good. Now I have this. I need some thickness to this, so I'm just gonna hover over a polygon. Let's go to extrude. Let's do all polygons, and let's just add some thickness to it. Right? Now we have this. I can jump out of the polyframe, take a look. Let me jump out of the solo. Now I have this, right? Let me jump out of the perspective view, bring this down. And very quickly, I can grab my move. And of course, I can even turn dynamics on with, before I do dynamics, I need to make sure my edges stay crisp. For that, I must go to geometry, go to crease borders, turn dynamic on. Let's put it to like 3 and make this really large, right? Let's make sure active symmetry is on. And now what we could do is we can just create something crazy. Just make this really huge, and let's just do like a fun vampire looking thing. So even just, even just this right here, I think is pretty cool, right? Maybe this extra is gonna come down. This is gonna like flare out like this. He's kind of a, yeah, just even this right here I think is fun. Not necessary, but just for the sake of exercise, a lot of fun to do. Maybe I can go in the front here and just, I don't know, pull these out a little more, or pull them in. I'm actually gonna pull mine in. Let me hide this for 1 second. Press Alt, select this, grab my move, make sure my active symmetry is on. I just want to, and the reason I'm pulling it down is because now if I turn on this back on, I just want to make sure that, you know, you could see it. There's something there, right? And I don't need any of this, so I'm just gonna do quick picks. Grab, I'm holding down Control and Shift. I'm just gonna select a knife curve and literally just slice this off. Right, I don't want that. And maybe I can do it not being in the perspective view. Holding down the space bar, I can move this around. But let me just cut this. I don't want all that extra stuff. So now I have this. This is great. Just so I could see the design, and I could see there's something there, right? Just push this out. Cool. Let's go ahead and see what else we can do. Let's go back into perspective view. I think this is looking really fun. This would be fun to like print and just have this guy sit on your desk. But if you wanted to quickly polypaint it, let's go ahead and take a look at how to do that. I'm trying to figure out if I want this color, or for mine, I almost feel like playing around a little more and making mine blue. I don't know why. I think blue would look better. Again, just you do what you like. I'm thinking of blue or purple for this type of character. So a couple things. To polypaint it, let's switch to polypaint, put our polypaint hats on. And to do that, I am going to, let's start from the bottom, right? I'm gonna select these eyes, and I do like them white, I guess. And if I do fill object, I do need to change the material. Let me go to something more like skin shader, right? All right, now I have this. If I wanted to add little pupils right there, let me do Control D to subdivide the eyes a couple times, just so they have more resolution. And to create the pupil for the circle, I'm gonna go to my standard brush, let me just do a drag dot and do something like alpha 14, that's fine. You know, I'm gonna do just something like black. And let me jump out of symmetry because he's looking to his right. Let's do the same thing, right? And then we can just do like when you turn RGB on, turn the sculpting off, do focal shift just so it's a little sharper, and turn lazy mouse off. And of course, make sure that our color is black. And now to do the eye, let's switch it to black, and let's just draw, just ignore everything else for a minute. I'm only looking at the eye. Maybe I needed to make this a little bit larger, and I'll just do one eye looking this way, and then this eye looking something like that, right? I think that totally works. I like that. That's gonna be pretty much it for my eyes. Let me switch to my teeth, do a fill object on those. And same thing, I want those to be white as well. And let's switch to the cape. I think the cape, I'm gonna go to blue and make it like this bluish black, fill object. Maybe even a little lighter actually. Yeah, something like that I think works. You can do more designs here or whatever, but I think this is good. Let's go in here. And now finally, I'm gonna do the face, which I'm seeing like, thinking like a grayish blue, I think would be, yeah, like that. Maybe even lighter, because he's kind of like dead, right? Yeah, I like this right here. To me, that works. A few things. I definitely want to color in some of the grooves, and of course, definitely add a little redness, right? We'll add the redness at the end, because first, let's just do the masking for the grooves, right? So definitely save your work if you're doing this with me, but now to mask the grooves, I'm gonna go to masking. Let's go to mask peaks and valleys. Let's do a little more range and just see what that gives us. That's not good at all. Let me try again. Nope, not liking that. Let me go to curvature, a little more strength. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's do a little more. There you go. So now I can at least get the curvature. Maybe a little more blur and a little more strength. Okay. I like that. So if I want to color those in, I think I would want them to be darker, right? I want these dark lines to be darker. So I'm going to do Control and click to flip it, make this way darker, and just do fill object at 100%, right? I'm going to go ahead and fill it in. Control drag to get rid of the masking, and get rid of the masking. Now I have this. So that's good. That's kind of the first pass for our detail. Let's continue. What else we got? We got the smoothness. Let's take a look at that. I like this too, right? That's even more detail, maybe a little more range. I like this a lot, actually. This is great. Let me figure this out. I'm going to do Control and click to flip it, and I don't want it to be that dark. So I'm going to go like a little bit lighter and change the intensity. I'm going to change the intensity so I don't lose those other dark lines. And I'm going to do fill object. And now it's going to give me something like that, right? Just very quickly, I added all this rich detail without doing any work, which is amazing. I can also go to depth and cavity, all these fun things to play with. Cavity is nice because then it gives you this cavity, it gives you this graph that you can play with. And you can control it and figure out, exactly if you want custom masking. Okay, so this is interesting. This is kind of selecting the highlights, right? So I could do Control click to flip it. Maybe for this I can go a little bit lighter and turn the intensity down again, do fill object. And now I have like these maybe lighter spots and darker spots, and actually it didn't really work well. Let me try again. Maybe I need a little more intensity. Yeah, there you go. So now I can see a little bit of a lightness with the darkness, and that's a cool mixture. And it's, if you switch this to something like plastic, right, it's going to give you a really cool reflections, and it's going to give you this illusion of skin. And I think that looks really cool. I definitely want to take the inside of the eyes and make them darker. So for that, I'm gonna go to solo. Let me just manually select like a darker, color. And maybe I can just paint that in manually, right? Switch this to dots. Let's do alpha 1. Definitely need a lot more RGB. Yeah, and I just want to paint this in manually. All of this in here should be dark. All right, that's nice. Let's jump out of the solo, and look how the eyes kind of just pop out, right? Because I made that darker. And you can even argue that I can make this, I can put this on 0, and instead of this being so precise, the dark color in there, it looks like some of it just kind of spills out. I can make this a little bit larger with focal shift at 0, and just spill out some of that darkness. Maybe just a little more intensity. But check this out. See, like this, I can just kind of spill this out. I think that's cool. And make it a little more expressive, right? Because then you're drawing the eye towards his bright eyes, or his eyeball, right? So just a little painting is important. I'm just going to paint this inside a little darker too. And let's see. Let's think about what else makes sense. Maybe, some of this here. Oops. Maybe some of this down here, just a little bit darker. Let's see what else we got. Now, by the way, I can press out the Shift, jump out of the sculpting, and while holding on the Shift key, I can blend in the paint itself. I can blur this because when I'm holding the Shift, it's using the RGB, right, to blend the paint, and that's a really cool way to create shadows as well. So keep that in mind. That's really cool. I'm happy with everything. I feel like if I wanted to add some light spots, I could do that as well. I just go into a lighter one and just do a little more painting. And maybe this part could be a bit lighter. The top of his head, could be a little lighter as well, right? Just a little bit. A little paint magic. Let's just do the chin, the end of the nose. I feel like these here should be maybe a little bit lighter. Maybe the tops of the ears, right? And yeah, I'm happy with that. Finally, as the last step, I definitely want to add some redness. So for that, I'm just going to go to red color, be really brave about it. I'm just going to do like a bright, obnoxious red. But then I'm going to take the RGB and just turn it way down to like 8. All right. And now what I can do is I can add some blood flowing through him by just doing something like this, right? Just a little bit. Touch a little bit by his eyes, maybe a little by his nose. And definitely, you know, I can even solo this, of course. Maybe a little bit by the tips of his ears, right? What else we got? I see the chin has a little red. And just adding just a little blotches of redness just creates a little warmth, you know? Maybe these lips, maybe he's been sucking in some blood or something. I'm not sure I need more than that because I really want it to be meaningful. If I do too much, it's gonna start kind of taking away from the rest. So I like how this is reading. I'm gonna go to solo. Let's do a quick BPR and take a look. This is looking really good. I'm gonna go to my render, go into shadows, turn the global way down. That's too crazy. Let's go to, I love this thing on. I'm turning this on pretty much with every single one of my things. And now the shadows look good. He's sharper and he is looking fabulous. It would be really fun, I feel like, to preview him in Blender. I hope you guys also made a fun, you know, good looking vampire. Would love to see it if you did in Discord. Please share your work. And I will see you in our next video.